the camera. If 22B can turn on, turn on. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible. 22B hasn't switched on their camera yet. Yeah, perfect.
She has done that. Shall I continue?
Yes, yes, you may start the debate now.
Sir, as I mentioned earlier, that the topic changes to Uniform Civil Code, one nation, one rule, the need of the hour. I'd like to ask the 21A and 21B to start their debate. The first participant who's speaking for the topic will get 5 minutes to speak. At 4 minutes, I'll show a placard with 1 minute left, and then I'll say stop with the placard. Post that second participant. Sorry, there's some disturbances. Who turned on his mic? I don't know. Yeah. So post that second participant gets 7 minutes to speak. I'll again show a placard with 1 minute left when 6 minutes are done, and then stop one with 7 minutes. Then the first participant gets 2 minutes to rebuttal his points, and post that we'll end the debate. Is it fine with you guys? So we'll do a mic check if both of you can turn on your mic and.
Hello, am I audible?
There's You are audible, but there's a lot of disturbances. No, it's fine. Take it perfectly cool. Yeah,
Hello,
you are. Yes, you are audible
am I
as well.
audible?
Yes, you are. Perfect. So we'll start with 21A.
Okay.
I suppose. Yeah. Perfect.
Yes. Good
So you
afternoon,
have to mention
everyone.
team.
Yes.
Sorry, you have to start mention your team code, and then
Yes.
once I say 1, 2, 3, start, and you'll begin your debate.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, start.
Uh, First of all, I would like to wish everyone good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I am Team Code 21, and I am here to favor the point that why it is necessary for India to have uniform civil code in our country. The India is democratic and secular country, and why it requires to have uniform civil code. So, first of all, I would like you all to know what actually the Uniform Civil Code is. Uniform Civil Code is something which where the case are based on guardian when the case are based on guardianship, divorce, marriage, etc. Then this case comes under a civil code, and when this cases has to give a judgment, it completely depends on the religion of the person. That means if the person is Hindu, it will be given a judgment according to Hindu personal law, or there are different personal laws in our country, like Hindu personal law, Pasik personal law, uh, Muslim personal law, as well as Christian personal law. So in India, it is at the R, it is required to have uniform civil code, because India is secular country, and every person should be equal in the eye of government as well as Supreme Court. So in that case, if everyone should get equal treatment, it is important to have a law which is equal for everyone. So right now, I would like to let you know some flaws in our personal laws. Like if we talk about Hindu personal law, a case was there named Malti Ray Majumdar versus case with another case which was Sudindranath Majumdar. This in this case, there was like a man has no choice, a woman has no choice to adopt a child if she has a consent of her husband too. So this was given in the Hindu Personal Law Act, which was Indian Hindu guardianship law, Hindu um, guardianship law, and also adoption law. So which was amended which was drafted in 1956. So according to this law, man was capable of getting the adoption, but woman is not capable of getting the adoption. So, and the another case which I can say was where a case uh, adoption means a guardianship can be taken by the first guardian of the child will be adopted child will be father, not the mother. So here also we can see a direct in gender inequality, complete gender inequality. So I would like to say that in this personal laws, there is a main cause, which is gender inequality. We can see different countries like USA, UK, they have implemented uniform civil code, and we can see them. They are underdeveloped. They are in top 30 developed countries in our world. So here the thing is, when the gender equality comes, the growth of complete country starts. The growth of country starts and development starts. So now at this time, uniform civil code is required so that gender equality would be done. And now if we talk about Muslim law, we are very familiar with triple talaq, which was voided in 2019. Triple talaq, you might be knowing about triple talaq, but you might not know about there are three types of triple talaq. Triple talaq, talaq-e biddat, talaq-e hasan, talaq-e ahasan. Talaq-e biddat is void, but the other two are still exist. So the other two which are existing now, that means one more thing is practiced, one more law is practiced in the Muslim law, that is halala. I don't want you all to know what actually halala is, but I want you all to know actually what halala is. Halala means a woman, if she is divorced by three talaq, then her husband can't marry her again. Means her ex-husband can't marry her again. Means if they realize they have to come together, they can't, because they have to follow a rule which is halala rule. So here also we can see a complete gender equality. Means this inequality means we can see here that when these personal laws are implemented, they compromise with gender equality. So this also says that UCC is important. Also, we can see in Parsi personal laws, there is if a Parsi woman, Zoroastrian woman, if she marries a man who is of another caste, then she is not allowed to enter in a fire temple. That means she is not allowed to enter the fire temple, and her child is not allowed to enter the fire temple. Even if her child wants to take her childs want to be in a Parsi religion. So this is what matters now. And example, we can also see here a case which was Gulrukh Gupta versus a Parsi community head. With name was uh, Pardiwala. Pardiwala. The case was Gulrukh was not able to attain the last rites of her parents, because the community says the rules were written in the constitution. So that's not fair with the gender, with the females or women, we can say. So these all things. I would like to stop in my arguments.
Thank you, participant 21A. Now I'd ask 22B to continue with her argument against the motion. As I mentioned earlier, you'll get 7 minutes to speak. At 6 minutes, I'll notify you with 1 minute to left, and post that, I'll say stop. After that, as I said earlier, 21A will get 2 minutes to rebuttal their points. Thank you. You may start in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Good afternoon, everyone. My team code is 22B, and we all know that Uniform Civil Code proposes to replace all personal laws which are based on scriptures and cultures of a religion with a common law under which every citizen of the country will be governed. There are some drawbacks of the Uniform Civil Code which should be taken under consideration by the government because it is affecting the minority of our country. First of all, India is a secular country. By secular, I mean that the state is free from all religion and it should interfere in religious matters only when it is disrupting the public health or good. So the implementation of UCC is clearly against secularism because we are expecting that people of all religions should act under a common law instead of practicing their own traditions and religions. Now, even our Indian Constitution has given us the right to freedom of religion under Article 25 to 28, and which is a fundamental right. The implementation and codification of Uniform Civil Code and its compulsion will lead to reduction in the scope of freedom of religion. Talking about the practically difficulty in because of the diversity of our country, the main sorry, India's identity lies within its vast diversity, which means it is diverse in every aspect, like religion, culture, and language, or anything else. But the implementation of uniform, it is, first of all, it is difficult to bring up a concept where you can bring laws where you can contradict the personal laws of marriage and divorce. It is the personal matter of every religion, and if it is implemented, it will affect the diversity of our nation. Now, talking about the minorities issues, the minorities fear that if the law is implemented, their traditions will be neglected, and the laws which are imposed will be dictated and influenced by the majority religion communities. So, and this will disrupt the social order, and it can also lead to extremism. The second thing I would like to say that the UCC itself, we can see that there's some problem in UCC. As an example, I will say that UCC is implemented in Goa, but there are still, we can see that loopholes are still prevailing in it. For example, there's a provision in which a person can remarriage if his wife cannot give birth to a child. But, and also we can see that Goa has to an extent lost its religious diversity. So uniform civil code does not give the surety that if we bring it, it will reduce the discrimination discrimination in people. The second thing is that uniform civil code is the implementation of uniform civil code is a very sensitive topic, and it should be taken into consideration because of the major opposition we are getting from Muslim community, and also there are a lot of controversies going on right now. For example, of beef and saffronization of colleges and schools curriculum, and also the love jihad. But in like in this current situation, it is not possible for the government to imply UCC, because it can it sorry, I'm so sorry, it it huh. The if it is implied here, the minorities will get insecure and vulnerable to, and they will get attracted to fundamentalist and extremist ideologies, and it will cause resentment in the society. The next thing I would say is that now what we can do is we can revise and revisit the existing laws of our country, personal laws, because we can make small changes in it, and not every rule of the personal laws is discriminatory. We can reconsider laws which are discriminatory in nature and make gradual changes in it, and maybe in future at some point of time, at some point of time, all the laws have been amendment, and they are at the same level. So there is no need to bring UCC in our country. It can be it can be also attained through making gradual changes in the personal laws. And the and also, if we do any dynamic change in current situation, can lead to resentment and insecurity among the society. As for example, the implementation of triple talaq, when it took place, we faced protests from various certain sections of society, and and it created a very, if one second. If such if a move against one, if I can't. if we are seeing protest for such a good cause, and it is small, it is just a small move, we can see that if a bigger move is taken, it will create greater animosity and instability in our country, which will lead to might lead to disastrous form in form of in in form of communal violence. And so we should, in form of communal violence. That's it. What I would like to. I like to end my presentation. And
Thank you, participant 22B. So
Uh,
now I request 21A to continue with his part and rebuttal his points in next two minutes. You
yes,
may start in
yes.
so you may start in 3, 2, 1, begin.
I would like to only oppose 2 or 3 points right now. She said that love jihad is one of the cause right now. So the Special Marriage Act 1954 is given, right? So in that case, if love jihad is really a big issue right now, then it can be collective thing that if we really go in courts and register our marriage in a Special Marriage Act, and if this happens, there is no issue. There is no issue. And if we give if we implement UCC, there will be a one thing which is Special Marriage Act will be compulsory for everyone to register. So here the love jihad concept is really danger, but it will be tackled so easily, I think. The another thing she said was uh, there will be communal disputes right now. So what are you facing right now? Even though we are in personal law, the personal laws are implemented in a country, we are even facing a personal issue, many disputes. When there is triple talaq voided, you said there are many Muslim women who protested against, even men protested against it. But there are 15 crore Muslims in our country, and if, and not more than that, and not enough were there in that protest, present in that protest.
can I rebuttal now, as I have not
That,
used my 2 minutes?
no, actually, that's not possible.
I just spoke
Sorry.
for 5 minutes. So can you give me my 2 minutes?
Hey, 22B, actually, when 21A spoke, you were given 7 minutes, which you did speak for. So your rebuttal is considered done.
Okay, it's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So judges, sorry. Wait a second, huh? So judges, are you satisfied with the debate? Shall we move on to next?
Yeah, sure.
I request both of you to move out of the room, and thank you for being here and thank you for being part of the debate. Uh, as the suit follows, I request both of you to mail the scores to the mail ID provided, and then we'll introduce the next team. Thank you.
Done.
Both our participants are here. We can begin as soon as the judges are done.
Sure, Yugandhara.
You can start.
Yeah.
Perfect, sir. So I request both the participants to turn their camera on. Perfect. So the topic remains same, sir. Uniform Civil Code One nation, one rule, the need of the hour. First team speaking for the cause will get 5 minutes to speak. At 4 minutes, when 4 minutes are done, I'll show 1 minute left placard for a reminder, and when the 5 minutes are done, I'll show stop sign. In the next participant will speak for 7 minutes against the topic. When 6 minutes are done, I'll show a placard with 1 minute left, and post that I'll show stop at 7 minutes. After that, the first participant will again rebuttal his points for next 2 minutes. There won't be any reminder this time around, so I'll just say start and stop, and then the debate will end. Is it fine with both of you guys? So we'll just do a voice check. If you both of you can do that.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Team 21B.
Yes, I'm audible.
Yes, you are. So we'll start with team for the motion, and we'll begin in 3, 2, 1, start.
She was gravely wrong, became a victim of bigamy, thrown out of a house at such a late age by merely pronouncing 3 words: talaq, talaq, talaq. She stood up for her rights, and yet the society tagged her as a shame. Is this how we are going to achieve justice for all? Remembering Shah Banu Begum even 30 decades after such a misery. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Team Code 25A, and I shall be speaking for the motion on the topic, Uniform Civil Code, One Nation, One Law, Need of the Hour. One Nation, One Law is an aim to achieve uniform civil code in India. It is a set of laws governing all individuals, irrespective of their religion, and without any discrimination, to ensure their fundamental and constitutional rights. It aims to achieve right to equality under Article 14 by eradicating any discrimination whatsoever under Article 15 of the Indian Constitution. The framers of the Constitution also led to a discussion so as to enact uniform civil code for the Indian citizens. However, the outcome was that it could only remain as a direction for the states under Article 44 of the Constitution to be implemented in the later future. It was only 4 decades later, in the case of Muhammad Ahmad Khan versus Shah Banu Begum, the Supreme Court realized strong need for the uniform civil code, and it also stressed upon the government to look into the direction of its applicability. However, the government introduced reforms into the personal laws itself instead of applying uniform civil code in India, and hence the hope for the application of uniform civil code was kept at a halt. In Sarla Mudgal versus Union of India, a decade later, Justice Kuldeep Singh clearly mentioned that when 80% of the population had already been brought under one common code, then there is no justification whatsoever to keep in abeyance the uniform civil code for the Indian citizens. Moving a step closer, the Supreme Court in its 2015 judgment also mentioned that personal laws cannot be accepted. Otherwise, every other religion will come up and say that they should be governed by their personal laws. The court does not agree to this. It has to be done through a decree of a court. Recently, in one of the judgments, Justice Pratibha Singh clearly mentioned that Indian society is becoming homogeneous, and the barriers of caste, religion, creed, tribe, etc. are slowly dissipating. This time is actually favoring the implementation of uniform civil code in India. Supreme Court also mentioned in 2019 that it cannot direct the parliament to enact uniform civil code in India. Otherwise, it would have already done so because there exists separation of powers in the Indian Constitution. However, it has always thrown the light on the significance of the same. Owing to this judgment of the Supreme Court in 2019, the present government also introduced the Uniform Civil Code Bill in 2019 and 2020 respectively. Although the bill could not be passed, yet it provided an insight. So as to the implementation of one nation, one law anytime sooner. It is now a high time for the Indian Parliament to not only enact, but to also implement one nation, one law in India. We as citizens should applaud such legislation, which aims at achieving gender equality, communal harmony, and also reduce the overburdens of the court. That is exactly how we are going to reach towards one nation, one law. Because as Malala rightly says, we cannot succeed when half of us are held back. And so, as citizens, it is our duty to adapt ourselves for the legislation that is done for the betterment of India. Because in the words of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, we are Indians, firstly and lastly. Thank you.
So we'll move to participant 21B and ask her to speak against the motion. You'll get 7 minutes to speak. At 6 minutes, I'll notify you, as I mentioned earlier. So you may start in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Hello, good afternoon, all respected judges and my dear friend. I am myself 21B going to say something about UCC, Uniform Civil Code, why it is not necessary to implement in India. India is a multicultural country and it is a country with diversity in religions, ethnicity, castes, etc. Hence, it is practically not possible to come up with a uniform code for personal matters like marriage. It itself makes cast of application of common personal law very challenging, as it will not cater to demand or the existing community. It's like forcing someone to do something they don't want to do. This will automatically then ambiguate and enmity among the citizens of country. It is also difficult to convince every citizen of India to replace their age-old tradition to a new tradition. The UCC in India purpose to replace the personal law base of scriptures and customs to each religious community in country with a common set governing every citizens. It can also be said as violation of religious freedom. In year 1950, Delhi court were having a discussion on it. Until now, nothing has been done towards it. Recently, in 2016, personal law board were not satisfied with this, and Venkaiah Naidu said that we should not pressurize anyone for doing something they don't want to do. And about women right and upbringing, a lot has been said, but rarely something has been done. The state should not interfere in a personal matter. The Constitution provides for right to freedom of religious of one choices. UCC would violate that right. There are already controversy over beef ban, saffronization, love jihad, etc. At this time, introduction of UCC will not only make things more worse, even the minority will not be secured towards this, and they will get vulnerable. It is largely look upon minorities as the threat to their identity because the code itself seems like favoring the majority people, and it is more like uniform majority code rather than a uniform code. And it is argued that drafting a UCC will not prove good for India because India has more diverse culture. India has more diverse culture. So India should not blindly trust the Western positive center legal tragedy. Uh, Secondly, about Article 44, it is not mandatory because Article 37 says that we shall not enforce we are not enforceable to anyone. We cannot enforce anyone to do something. It is a duty of a state to apply this principle by making law. Recently, Law Commission of 2018 report observed that UCC is neither necessary nor describable at this stage for India. The reason cited, reason cited was that diverse country like India has to have separate law to respect the needs of people, and bringing uniformity will make more things worse rather than simplifying it. Constitution itself gives so many extensions to so many peoples like tribal, etc. And take a look towards country like Bangladesh, China. They are not having uniform civil code, but then too they have given their women's right to work, to do whatever they want to do. The thing is, there should be a change in mindset of people, society, people and society. Mulana Rasmi even went to says that the beauty of India lies in and where various color people who gave constituent right to practice the religious of their own choices. The UCC contract this and more become unconditional. And about Bangladesh and all that, even Bangladesh don't have UCC, then to their GDP rate is more far better than India. And take a look to Goa. Goa has UCC, but then too there is no gender equality. There is no gender equality. There is no gender equality. If a woman fails to give birth to a child within 5 years, then a man can marry another woman, and without giving divorce to the first wife. And even in French, UCC exists since 1804, but it does not secure women equally. Women are not involved in financial transaction. Even in Taliban, people are forced to follow one rule. If we bring UCC in India, India will also become like this. People don't want to follow that. Then too, we are forcing them to follow. And what if we bring uniform civil code in India? Will people follow that? And about whatever you said about Sahabano case, the divorcing, not giving the maintenance maintenance all, the changes has been done. The changes should be done in small things. Just by bringing uniform civil code, uh, people mindset won't change. People won't give justice to women and justice to women. Even take a look to Sabrimala Mandir in Kerala. Women were not allowing to enter the temple. In year 2017, the judgment was given that they cannot stop women. But then to till now, people are not allowing women to go inside it. What is there any guarantee that if UCC is imposed, then every single person in India will follow it? Thank you.
Thank you, participant 21B. Now I'd ask 25A to rebuttal her points in next 2 minutes. I'll say start and then stop. There would be no reminders in between. You may start in 3, 2, 1, begin.
As Speaker 2 has stated, the clashes of Article 25, that is right to freedom of religion, I would like to state that right to freedom of religion, Article 25(1) states that subject to morality, public health and order, the people can practice, profess and propagate their religion. However, same Article 25(2) states that these personal laws should not affect the existing laws of the state, and the state can make provisions which for the state can make provisions which are secular in nature. Uniform civil code is considered secular in nature because it is based on rule of law, which is subject to three conditions, that is supremacy of law, justice, equity and good conscience, and also is based on principles of natural justice. So I would like to state that uniform civil code by the minorities has always been considered as an infringement of their fundamental rights under Article 25. However, it is not. It is within the provision and the ambit of Article 25 too. And also, it is enshrined under Article 44 of the Constitution, which is the directive principle of state policy. And directive principles And fundamental rights goes hand in hand, because only when the state will implement Article 44 and make provisions for the Uniform Civil Code, then only Article 14 and 15 could be enjoyed. And this would not lead to any infringement of Article 25 and 26 of the Constitution. This is what I want to state. Thank you.
Thank you, both the participants. Judges, I'd like to ask you, are you satisfied with the debate?
Yes, fine.
Perfect. So I'll ask both the participants to leave the room. Thank you for being here and thank you for taking part in the debate.
Thank you.
Sir, can you please post the score on mail ID and then we'll continue the next debate.
Ma'am, am I visible to you all and audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
You are visible and audible.
Okay, can I begin?
No, you can't actually. There are some formalities to do. Then we'll do.
Sorry, I cannot hear you. Just a second, please.
Am
Yes,
I audible?
speak.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible now.
So you may start after some formalities are done. Post, I'll notify you for that. Thank you.
So should I begin?
No, you shouldn't. I'll
Actually,
notify.
23A, you can start in a minute or two. We'll let you know.
Oh, all right, all right.
Yeah.
Just a general information, team participants, you all will have to switch on your cameras.
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm also ready.
Perfect, ma'am.
Okay, so ma'am, shall I start?
You may turn on your camera first. Yeah. So.
Greetings to everyone present here. This is Team
Sir,
Code 23A. And
wait
today, I would
wait
like
a
to...
sec.
Yes,
Wait
Can
a sec.
you
Wait
get
a
a second so
second.
that we can introduce you to the rules of the debate so that you know how it will be? Just a
Yeah.
second.
all right, all right, all right.
The topic remains same, sir. Uniform Civil Code, one nation, one rule, and the need of the hour. We do have two teams with us. One will go for the motion and one will go against the motion. The first team which will go for the motion gets 5 minutes to speak. At 4 minutes, I'll notify them that 1 minute's left, and when the 5 minutes are completed, I'll say stop to them. Post that, second team speaking against the motion gets to speak for 7 minutes. After 6 minutes are completed, ask them to I'll ask them to show them the reminder that 1 minute's left and post that. I'll say stop to them, and then the first team gets 2 minutes to rebuttal their points. Whichever team goes and speaks, they have to announce their team code to the judges and post that start with their debate. Uh, Teams speaking for the motion, you may start in 3, 2. Please turn on your camera if possible.
Yes, sir.
You may start in 3, 2, 1. Begin.
Greetings to everyone present here. This is Team Code 23A, and today I'm going to begin my debate now. Today, if I tell you about the history that how a certain section of people were categorized as untouchable and contact with them was considered polluting, or if I remind you the situation of women where women did not have even the simple right to make choice, they were not supposed to study, child marriage, sati pratha, and what not was promoted in the name of religion. But today, if I ask you that do you still regard these practices, I believe no one present here will say yes to my question, and that's true. Indian society has come a long way, and all thanks goes to our lawmakers and the social reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who fought against Sati Pratha despite facing criticism. Now you might be wondering issued by Delhi High Court that Indian society is gradually becoming homogeneous and the traditional barriers like religion, community and caste are slowly dissipating, and thereby it urges law ministry to act on uniform civil code. Uniform civil code article 44, a hope of many Indians and a dream of our lawmakers. Now the time has come when that dream needs to be turned into reality. Second point is that Uniform Civil Code will talk about the law related to marriage, divorce, inheritance, adoption, succession, etc. So, these uniform civil codes are, and the sole purpose of these codes or these law is to eradicate the discrimination without demolishing the secular image. The third point is that the constitutional society cannot justify discrimination over religious ground. In Indian Constitution, Article 25 to Article 28 guarantees right to religious freedom, but if Article 14, Article 15 and Article 21 gets violated, then directive policy of state principles have the right to can be kept above Article 25 to Article 28. My fourth point is that the personal laws are directed by a patriarchal notion, as was the case with the Shah Banu Begum, whose husband denied to give her maintenance, stating religious ground that his religion doesn't allow him to do so, and that's when Supreme Court has to come forward and emphasize over the need of uniform civil code. My fifth point is that the developed countries like USA, Canada, Russia, they all have accepted and adopted uniform civil code, and they have adopted it as a developing law. And because of this law, they have moved a step further in their development. Thereby, I would like to say that uniform civil code is the need of our, because it promotes gender equality. There would be no discrimination, and it will help our country to move ahead. It will help our country to move ahead. Also, it will decrease the burden on judiciary. It will decrease the burden on judiciary. It will promote secularism. And to prove my point, I would like to state the recent example of Afghanistan, where the people are in chaos. There is an instability, and there the people need to understand that there is a fine line between personal law and religion. So that's all from my side. Thank you, and have a nice day ahead.
Thank you, participant. Now we'll move to participant 25B. And
am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are. So I'll ask
give me the cue.
Yeah, sure. I'll ask him to speak against the motion, and he may start in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Our ability to reach unity in diversity will be the beauty and the test of our civilization, were the words, hopes, and dreams of Mahatma Gandhi, the father of our nation. India today and before was built on the foundation of it being culturally beautiful and also it being acceptable towards all religions. The same culture which is coexistent and due to there being various legislations and people liking these legislations. It also must be noted that only because of this are we surviving today and are having a harmonious environment. Good morning to one and all present here. I am Team Code 25B, here to speak against the motion Uniform Civil Code, One Nation, One Law. Need of the hour. While it is hard to realize and recognize the need of the hour, I must also speak on the motion that why it is not necessary per se when it comes to it. And when it comes to acknowledgement of truth, every head must bow and every tongue must confess. And the truth being that in India, A different set of personal religious laws are governed due to there being various religions. These laws include as the Hindu laws, which state the Hindu Succession Act, the Hindu Maintenance Act, the Guardianship and Maintenance Act. These have been codified through the years using pieces of legislation. These laws not only speak on marriage and divorce, but also on custody, maintenance, succession, inheritance, and many other socio-cultural aspects of the same. While it may be perceived as these laws are vivid, it also should be considered that these laws are the ones that are giving people the right to practice their own religion. Apart from the Hindu personal laws, which, as I've already stated, mention about the Hindu marriage, succession, minority, guardianship, and adoptions, there are also the Muslim laws, which are non-codified, but based on the religious texts of Muslim laws, which are the Shariat Application Act and the Dissolution of Marriages Act. Apart from Hindu and Muslim, as we always do in our country, there is also the Christian Marriages Act, which are governed under the Indian Christian Marriages Act, as well as for the Zoroastrians, they are governed under the Parsi Marriages Act. Well, it should be noticed that these singular acts have not caused any harm to what we have established today. And these acts are the ones providing people peace and existence in today's times. Furthermore, to protect distinct regional identities, the Constitution also makes certain exceptions for the states such as Assam, Nagaland, Mizoram, Andhra Pradesh, and Goa with respect to family law. UCC, or Uniform Civil Code, determines to bring all these aspects under an umbrella of uniformity. But it is my question that if you bring all these things under an umbrella of uniformity, do you not terrorize the aspect that people have been ideologically and theologically attached to these religions, and they are using it as a tool to express themselves? Apart from this, UCC also will realize and havoc and create it that the traditional practices, such as the Kohram practice and the practice in the northern eastern regions, which help the women get inheritance of all the property under her section. And these laws and these customs are constitutionally protected as well. While my opponent also said and mentioned that when it comes into picture that Article 14 and 21 are being violated, directive principle take over the same. It is not mentioned anywhere. Sorry?
Your voice is breaking a bit.
Am I audible?
You're audible now, but it's breaking in between, so do check the connection. You may continue as of now.
Sorry. Separate personal laws are the one region where people have exercised their right to practice their own religion, and this has been attached sentimentally and emotionally to them. While it is not considered a sentimental act, sorry?
Breaking again. Sorry.
I'm so sorry. Am I audible? Hello?
So when you are speaking, I'm audible, then it's not breaking, but once you start with your topic, it starts.
Oh God, oh God. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I tried the internet connection. I'll start as well. UCC could become a tool to erode this right, detach the minorities from their religion, and also homogenize culture altogether. It is very wrong as a secular nation to impose a majority Hindu view upon those of the minority. It should be taken in consideration that 14.2% of our entire population consists of Muslims. And for UCC, it is becoming a more difficult tool to get these sections under a uniform umbrella, since in Muslims altogether, there are Shia and Sunni, which contain their own set of jurisprudence. And bringing these two sects in consonance will be a clear-cut problem on the same lines. Apart from this, there is no proper explanation on how UCC determines to abolish or to force the actions of the practices that the Muslim sects have, such as the nikah and the meher. Also, taking the Muslim aspect aside, it does not even treat or show how the Indian culture or the rituals such as Saktpati is to be taken into consideration. My learned opponent also mentioned Shah Banu Begum as the case law, but I would like to mention that this triple talaq case, where the Supreme Court had opined that even if the statutory laws are not considered to be in the UCC or the religious aspect, it should be taken on record that these laws are covered and these laws will be fundamental rights and the same cannot be abrogated. Balbir Singh Chauhan, the former law commission president and the judge of Supreme Court himself stated that UCC is not even an option since the personal laws can never be done away with. That would be my content. Thank you.
Thank you, participant 25B. Now I'll ask the participant speaking for the motion to turn on their camera and rebuttal their points for next 2 minutes.
All
And if
right.
possible, guys,
Thank
please
you, dear
keep your
worthy
cameras.
opponent. I would like to say that. Can I begin?
Yes, you can. You have already started, so I didn't mention that. Continue.
All right, all right. So I would like to say that that's the myth that the people are having regarding Uniform Civil Code, that it will be governed by a Hindu majority. And also, I would like to answer the question that you asked to me. I would like to give a joint answer to both of them. That the Law Commission has given a consultation paper, and in that it is written that all the political parties or the government needs to prepare their own consultation paper, and they should tell the people that what are the laws they are going to formulate and what are the changes they are going to make. So that needs to be done jointly, and the process and the initial process should get started, I think, and that is by codifying the personal laws of every religion, and then by implementing universal civil code, because everything a change cannot be a sudden, it needs a slow process, and that's what I'm trying to say, that it is a part of process codifying the personal laws and then implementing them. And yes, I would like to quote Hamid Umar Dalwai, who was a social reformer, and he fought against triple talaq in India despite facing orthodoxy. He said that we need to insist on a common personal law for all the citizens of India. Also, I would like to, as I stated earlier, that people need to understand a fine line between personal laws and religion. Religion doesn't teach us to be inhuman, but what we are seeing in Afghanistan is beyond the imagination. So I hope you got your answer, and I have justified my point that why uniform civil code is necessary for the nation. Thank you, and have a nice day ahead.
Thank you, participants. I think we are satisfied with the debate. Am I audible now? Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yeah. So, are you satisfied with the debate, Tejas?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for taking part and being here. You may leave the room. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Uh, so you may proceed to send the scores to your mail ID. Whereas Yugandhara, do we have next participants with us?
Hello, we have 22A, but we don't have 23B yet. No, we have 23B, but we don't have 22A yet. Sorry.
Let's wait for them. Someone please contact them. Possible.
I'm okay to start whenever.
Sure, sir.
Okay, both of them are here. We can start the debate now. You are muted.
Yeah. Can both participants please turn on the camera? Team 23B, if you can turn on the camera first. Team 23B, if you can turn on your camera if possible. So guys, am I audible to you perfectly?
Yes.
So we'll proceed with the debate for Uniform Civil Code, uh, One Nation, One Rule, and just a second, I'm getting.
You are not audible.
I'm facing some difficulty with the network. I'll just be back in a minute.
Hello guys, both of you, 22A will be speaking for the motion and 23B will be speaking against the motion. So 22A, you will get a time of total 5 minutes. When 4 minutes are done, you will be shown a placard of 1 minute left, after which 23B will speak for 7 minutes, which will include 2 minutes of rebuttal to the for speech. After which, again, 22A will speak for the motion and also rebutting the against participant for 2 minutes. So that will be it.
Am I audible now?
I have.
Yes, yes.
Do I have the liberty to accommodate that 2 minutes of interjection in any part of my speech, or it should be by the end of my speech or at the beginning? So, do I have the liberty to accommodate in any portion of my 7-minute speech?
So you'll have to speak rebuttal your point at the end of the speech. You'll first get only 5 minutes to conclude your topic. Will that be fine?
And I have a query. That can I note down the points of the opponent for the rebuttal?
Yes, yes. Yes,
Certainly
you
you
can.
can. Perfect. So shall we start the debate?
Yeah, sure.
So team going for the topic may speak their code numbers first and then start with their debate. You may start in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Good afternoon, everyone. My code number is 22A, and I'll speak for the motion. The Uniform Civil Code has been mentioned in the Constitution under the Article 44, which states that the state will allow the citizens a free democratic country, and that a uniform civil code will be provided, and it clearly mentions one state and one law. In the famous case of sorry for the induction. So sorry for my network. It was a network issue. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Do you want to start over?
Yes, I'll start from where I left off from the beginning.
Whatever is convenient for you.
Okay, I'll start where I left from. The famous case of Shah Banu, in which Shah Banu claims maintenance of from her husband, who gives her a triple talaq. The union government turns over the case, as in Islam the the Muslim woman isn't allowed maintenance, and this is considered by the Supreme Court in 2017 as unconstitutional, and it says that it's unconstitutional and it's illegal. So the triple talaq got cancelled off. Adoption is a very nice thing, and it's very close to everyone's heart. After adoption, the one becomes a natural parent, and the child adopted is also equal to a natural child, and they even inherit the property. In Islam, the Muslims are not allowed to adopt the child but the juvenile court, the Juvenile Justice Act, brought a justice in this thing, and the Supreme Court allowed the Muslims to adopt the child, even though it is against their Muslim laws and the personal laws, as it's a injustice to the humanity. And they also called for the union government to create a law, the Uniform Civil Code, that gives justice to this thing. And one thing more, a Hindu man can also misuse the Islam's culture, the Islam's laws, as they can convert into a Muslim for remarrying. You can just take an example from a very famous case, in which a Hindu man married in the Hindu Marriage Act only, and then he changes and adopts Islam to remarry, and he remarries. And then Supreme Court claims that it's not legal, and the first marriage, which is done through Hindu Marriage Act, remains legal. So it's unconstitutional too, and this is the main reason that Uniform Civil Code should come into power, because not only the Muslim people are suffering and the Islam is being targeted, but also the other religions such as Hindu and others can also take advantage of their religion. Then there's a term, iddat, in Muslim law that is very harsh and cruel, and they glorify it. It is a time period in which the Muslim woman has to stay indoors, and she cannot meet anyone during that period outside her. Thank you. It's outside her blood relations. And that is very inhumane. And when this Uniform Civil Code will come into force, this will be cancelled off. Rape is a punishable offense, but on the other hand, nikah halala is not punishable, and it is still glorified, and it is a curse to the society. As in nikah halala, the woman has to consummate a marriage with another man, just because her first husband, was not sensible enough to control his anger, and in his fit of anger, he gives her triple talaq or divorce. Just to get back to her husband and her children, she has to consummate a marriage with a stranger, and that too, mostly they are elder in nature and elder in age, and sometimes it even happens that the
So, team number 25B, I suppose, 23B, I suppose, right?
Yeah, 23B will be speaking next.
Yeah, exactly. Can you please turn on the camera? Also, as I requested earlier, can both the participants can keep their camera on during like both of the debates, if possible? Uh, so, as I mentioned,
I'm audible to the jury members.
yes, you are. So, as
23B
I
is not visible.
22B is not. Yeah. 22A, sorry. 23B is. If she can turn on her camera, it will be completely good. Team 22A, can you please turn on your camera? Last call.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. So, as I mentioned earlier, that you'll get 7 minutes to speak, 5 minutes for your debate, and last 2 minutes to rebuttal your point. I'll notify you when 6 minutes are done, and I'll show you a placard with 1 minute left time period. And then post that, I'll show you a stop sign. With post that, the team 22A, who's speaking for the motion, will again rebuttal their points in next 2 minutes, and after that we'll conduct the debate. Perfect. Shall we start? So in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Swami Vivekananda said that change is necessary for self-fulfillment. And Bhagat Singh added that the sword of a revolution must be sharpened on a whetstone of thought. And Honorable Chairperson, it is the very same thought which my worthy opponent need to make in their mentality and the understanding of the civil law in order to make this debate fruitful to the mankind and our nation in totality. Good afternoon, Honorable Chairperson. I stand here to speak against the motion. Whereas the motion of the House has turned extremely controversial because it has been nefariously used by my worthy opponent to mislead and bamboozle the House. Honorable Chairperson, Uniform Civil Code will not be a tool to punish a community that is primarily a Muslim, according to my worthy opponent. But the fact of the matter is that the just society is a society which has ascending sense of reverence and descending sense of contempt, as said by B.R. Ambedkar. And Honorable Chairperson, if we put this to the scrutiny of the Uniform Civil Code, which is being supported by this House, the answer comes with a clear no. Honorable Chairperson, my building of arguments would strongly stand on 4 pillars of logic, sociology, legal, and secular angle that will clear the House about the need of Uniform Civil Code. To begin with, Honorable Chairperson, that is the logical argument. When the House motivates us to believe that the Uniform Civil Code is the need of the nation, it's the need of the hour, then comes a question, then what is so wrong in the present scenario that there is a pressing need as provocated by the opponents? Honorable Chairperson, according to the Hayden's rule of interpretation, whenever a law has to be interpreted, it has to be interpreted with the light of what was the need of a particular law. Honorable Chairperson, we have to understand that even in the present time, there are neutral laws that exist. For example, the Indian Contract Act, which is same for any person, whether it regarding or non-regarding the religion. There exists the Indian Inheritance Act. There exists Indian Marriage Act. And Honorable Chairperson, it is now on the liberty of a citizen to freely choose. Because Honorable Chairperson, we have to understand that the idea of secularism as it exists in India is very different than it exists in the Western connotation countries. Honorable Chairperson, now we also have to understand that after 74 years of independence, do we really want to make one law for the whole country and put all the diversity of a country in a big question mark? If that is what the biggest democracy of the world is aspiring for, I fear that the future of a country is in danger. Honorable Chairperson, now I'll quickly shift to another argument that is a sociological argument. Jeremy Bentham, in his totalitarian theory, said that the greatest good of greatest number can only help the society to flourish. And when I talk about the greatest good, it is an inclusive good rather than exclusive good. And Honorable Chairperson, let me put it very clear that the Uniform Civil Code is not only to concern with Muslims. But the fact of the matter is that there are some tribes living in Andaman and Nicobar Island. There are some tribes living in Nagaland. There are some tribes living in Arunachal Pradesh. And Uniform Civil Code would just be a tool for them to believe that it is not the India that is a truly federal nature that is respecting their own individual identity. Honorable Chairperson, now it is imperative to have a detailed discussion on the legal argument since it is a law college that is hosting a debate. Honorable Chairperson, we have to understand that the very element of Uniform Civil Code is actually in the practice. It is just that it is in latent format and we need to have a broad eye rather than a cursory glance. We have to understand that just after independence, B.R. Ambedkar tried to make a uniform civil code that is for personal laws for both the communities, as it was existing for Muslims at the Sharia Act, and there was amendment and there was an attempt to make a unified Hindu laws, and that is the case. And even Honorable Chairperson, if we go for a careful scrutiny of the Hindu law, we also understand that even Hindu law accommodates the diversity of citizens. Honorable Chairperson, for a Hindu living in North India have a different customary rituals than that of Southern India, and that is what the diversity is all about. And the very idea of my worthy opponent to make one law for one nation as the need of the hour would not do much to the minority, but more despair to the majority in totality. We have to understand that as long as we are having a strict and a stable judiciary that acts as a credible, central, and neutral medium, we don't need a very arbitrary laws. We don't need a very singular laws that would be imposed on the people, because, Honorable Chairperson, Taliban is not our role model. North Korea is not our role model. What should be our role model should be a country like Belgium, in which there are multiple forms of government, in which people are also given liberty to select their own religious government that gives the rules regarding religion. Honorable Chairperson, it becomes imperative for me to quote the Shirur Mutt case and the Durga Committee report, which talk that the religion is a personal matter, but the court has the power to talk and amend the rules regarding the external parameters that revolve around religion. And Honorable Chairperson, we must feel proud that we live in a country where the judiciary does the careful scrutiny. The very facts that were presented by my worthy opponents about the triple talaq, it should be the point in my court, as it was the judiciary that condemned and removed such arbitrary practice that are existence without removing the personal laws and all. Honorable Chairperson, now, since I am in a time to counter the arguments given by worthy opponents, Honorable Chairperson, we have to understand that arguments that were presented by my worthy opponents smell about the Islamophobic intentions that she carries, and that could be because of lack of knowledge. But if she goes into a careful scrutiny of Islamic jurisprudence, then we also have to understand that there exists different school of thought. And Honorable Chairperson, above all, we live in India. We do not live in Islamic Association of India. We live in a constitutionally secular country that gives individual a freedom. Any person is having her own liberty to talk and question the very fundamentals of religion. And as she talked about the case of conversion from Hinduism to Islam, she was quite ignorant because she failed to study the judgment of Sarla Mudgal that clearly upheld the very practices in which the court made it illegal for a person to convert into Islam for the purpose of marriage, multiple marriages. Honorable Chairperson, as for my ending quotes, I would like to quote the very idea of secularism. Our concept of secularism is not any Western semantic notion, but it is something that binds us and makes us promote ourselves from the old colonial and barbaric legacy that we were enslaved of. And therefore, for a modern progressive society, we all need to share the power. And the best form to share the power is to give the local people their rights and their customary laws that were being practiced since a huge lot of time. And Honorable Chairperson, even the fundamental right to religion are subject to public order, health, and morality. So, in future, any of the personal laws that are contrary to the fundamental rights or contrary to the rules of law, that would be clearly held void by the court. And therefore, I feel it is a high time that we need to have some trust on the judiciary and give people the right that they deserve. I feel that clearly summarizes my argument. Thank you so much.
Thank you, participant. Now I'll ask participant 22A to rebuttal their points, and post that we'll end the debate. You may start in 3, 2, 1, begin.
In the courts of law, it's usually said that half knowledge is as bad as none of it. It's as harsh as twice it. And my worthy opponent has proved it. And it really shows that you really want a communalist society rather than a secular. You've not stated your points relating to the secularism, but you have just stated it regarding the communalistic thing. I think it's a great I think it's a great decision to bring UCC into matters and force it. And you can also imagine a country with no religions and customs and other castes and religions and other genders coming in between, as my opponent said, and it would be the justice would be provided without any keeping any barriers in between. And from my point of view, it is a great decision to bring UCC into force. And that's all I have to say for that.
Suggest, are you satisfied with the debate?
Yes, it's fine.
Thank you for being here and thank you for taking part in the debate. I'll request you both to kindly leave the room so that we can bring the next participants in. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.